4-year-old was cursing out Alina's dad in the video.
F Alina dad.
That's crazy.
I was like, what did I do?
So guys, yesterday we found some disturbing video footage in our daughter's tablet. On Friday, they let the kids go ahead and take their tablets to school since they have spring break this week. And so the plan was that the teachers would monitor them and allow them to use the tablets for 1 hour. Now, they were there only to play the games for an hour and then put the tablets away. Well, yesterday I'm looking through my daughter's tablet and she's showing me pictures and videos of like her and her friends on the tablet. So I play a video that's like 28 seconds and I hear one of the little girls who's like in the video with my daughter saying, she said the F word twice and she said the B word once. And my daughter, you could tell that my daughter knew that those were wrong words and she didn't say anything to that response. And then when I looked at some of the other videos, it was like videos of that same girl taking over her tablet and
like bullying her.
Almost like bullying. I don't want to use that word. So bullying could be misinterpreted, but it just seems like she was taking over, being really bossy with her. And so anyway, we say that to say I was worried. Like, I almost didn't want to send her back to the school because I'm like, man, is she being exposed to this daily? You know, I didn't want her around the child, and I know that they are kids, but it still had me concerned, and I was worried, and I was like, oh, should we switch schools? And I was just really in my mind last night, and it actually kept me from sleeping well because I was thinking about my daughter having to go back to the school and not knowing what course of action to take with it because it hadn't happened, not that I've known, and the evidence being right in the tablet. So I was sitting with Lee. You want to come in before I keep going?
No, you got it.
So I was sitting with Lee and I was washing dishes this morning, and I was like, man, like, I don't want to worry like that. Faith is continuous. We have to continuously be in our word, in our Bibles, being around like-minded people so that our faith is strengthened. And Lee and I had talked about this in the past, where like we have family members who they pray a lot and they talk about God a lot and they say things like, God has always brought me through and this and that. And as soon as like the smallest form of opposition comes, they fold, right? And I noticed that like that you know what, that has happened to me too. Spiritual maturity has nothing to do with age. I feel like it has a lot to do with your closeness and your willingness to seek God and to continuously be in his word. It don't matter how old you are. And so I was telling Lee when I was washing the dishes, I'm like, I want to get to a place in my faith walk to where I'm not shaken by the slightest thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, my daughter's school, that happened. I'm not like, oh, I can't sleep. And I keep thinking about it. I want to know that, like, God, bring it up. God's got it. Ask God for guidance in that and not be worried and stressed. And that's about not just that, but just anything in life. I'm, like, tired of having the weak, I call it, like, the weaker faith.
The yo-yo faith.
The yo-yo faith, right? I'm tired of that. And Lee was saying last night, he was like, you know what? I was like, because, you know, I felt stronger in my faith when I was in my 20s. And he brought up a good point. He was like, that was kind of like your baby faith season. You were able to get strong in that because that's like your baby faith. Now you come into more of meat and potatoes. So it's going to be like a different level.
Yeah,
so
it's not the same. It's not the same. We talk about that a lot. The whole worrying and faith thing. So we took a shape assessment at our church. And we had like our little like things. So one thing I always kind of talk about, like I have like a really high faith. But it is still, even with having high faith, it can be difficult to manage. Like I'm the head of household, right?
Right.
And so I'm trying to manage the emotions of the household too. So sometimes like I'm not necessarily worried about the thing. I'm worried that you're worried.
Right. Right.
So I'm trying to manage like your worry in a sense. Because you know, we were talking about last night. It's like unfortunately that can happen at any school.
Yeah, it can.
Kids use profanity at all schools, I'm sure. Shoot, I mean,
and she's only 4. She's only they're 4.
But it's funny actually. The best way I put it is we were literally just watching the sermon.
Okay, yeah, take it back.
We were literally watching sermons that morning.
Michael Todd, yeah.
Watching Michael Todd all Saturday morning.
All like for like 3 hours worth of the word.
And then Sunday our kids was wilding, but we ain't gonna talk about that. And then like so the whole thing was about like being solidified in your faith, partnering with God, you know, knowing that when there's opposition, that means that, you know, you're doing the right thing. And it was like literally right after all that, we had a car situation,
our car
like
stopped cranking up,
$400 or $500 thing we had to do, pay for
a car repair,
and then like the thing with the school kept popped up. So it's kind of like you already didn't necessarily don't even really. we really prefer her to be at a different school anyway. Like,
and we're working towards that.
No, and rather I would even prefer her to be homeschooled. But I just honestly, we just can't take on.
That's another thing.
We just can't take on.
But so all these things happened, and what he didn't add, our kids were wilding out. Like our daughter was just not listening. Like it was just a lie. She wasn't listening, and our son was like, he wouldn't nap. Like he just would nap for like 5 minutes, and he would wake up, and then you could tell he would be tired. So we brought up the story about us watching 3 hours of devotion because we felt like we were really being tested. So we kept looking at each other like, you gonna pass the test?
You gonna pass the test?
You gonna pass the test? And y'all, it was so hard for me, like, to get out of my emotions. Like
my wife get to thinking or worrying, and you can see it come off her forehead. Like it's just like there's like worry popping off her forehead.
And I told Lee, I'm like, yo, like, I'm trying to pass. Like, I got a C. I say I got about a C plus, maybe a C minus yesterday.
Now you pass it. That's passing.
I guess that's passing.
That's passing.
But there is still work to be done, man, because I do not want to have that yo-yo faith. And everybody be like, oh, read the Bible, this and that. Listen, I be trying to read the Bible, y'all. The message is a lot helpful. But I told Lee today, I'm like, sometimes you get into some of those books of the Bible, and you're like, Hakaka, what is going on?
Habakkuk. I think what it was.
I'm like, so-and-so begot so-and-so. What is going on?
Yeah. I think that's why I told you, like, you gotta have, like, different... Everybody got different gifts in those areas.
Yeah.
So I understand that stuff, so I'm here to explain it to you.
Yeah.
I get it. So I get that. But, like, I feel like worry and sin can be generational.
Yes.
And I feel like you can actually pass down your mindset, like the way you think, right? You think about everything that you hear yourself saying, the things that your parents are saying. Like, you realize you're saying the same exact things.
You got McDonald's money?
Yeah, you got McDonald's money? It's a spaghetti in there. It's a spaghetti. Right? But shout out to all the people who eat spaghetti all the time. But yeah, like passing down worry, I realized, like, for me, and I think my wife also, we both agreed, is like, man, we don't want to pass down worry and this negative mindset, the scarcity. We want to be able to pass down faith, strong-willed, unshakable faith, and we have to model that, right? So we can't, like, be in here saying we want to do that and then not actually do it. Like, we tell our kids, y'all need to stop complaining so much, stop worrying, or stop doing this, but then turn around and then complain
and
worry and do everything that we. This is the best way to teach is to just model it, right?
It's to model it.
Be a role model, and you want to teach by how you act. So we're on this journey, man, to really just, like, get better at this.
Yeah, so, like, what do you think are some action steps towards that? Because to watch 3.5 hours of sermon about not worrying, trusting God, and He knowing everything for your life, the very next day within the 24 hours, be worried about a situation that happened at your daughter's school and being tested by everything around you because, like, what are some action steps?
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
Is a step. The fact that you were even self-aware and acknowledge that, hey, I just was yesterday listening to this 3 hours of the sermons, and now this is happening today. There's still that desire to be like, man, I don't want this to be that way. So I think that transformation happens with time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think it happens with time. And, like, so the self-awareness is really important, but then also just consistency.
Yeah.
Right? I think you have to adapt the pattern of being in God's presence.
Yes.
Right? We have to continuously, you can't go and get a little boost. It's like getting a wellness shot. You know what I'm saying? You get a little something like, oh, I'm good. I got my booster now. It's like, nah, it's consistency. Now, because the moment you working out, right? The moment you stop, you get muscle memory, but you still lose what you had. So being consistently in the Word, I think, will develop your worry, because I think it comes down to sometimes we don't believe God's promises.
Yeah.
Like he says all these different things to us, and we don't always believe that He'll do it. Or we maybe He'll do it for someone else, but not us. And I don't know, man. I think we really don't emphasize how powerful our thoughts are and how they can really be passed down to our kids. So listen, all I know is, like, what you just said, that's like an action step. Like the fact that awareness,
self-awareness, consistency. Yeah. I think being around like-minded people.
Being in the, don't forsake yourself, the assembly of the saints. So you want to be around people who be the average of the people around you.
Yeah.
So that's another thing we try to, like, we're trying to make sure we're in the right circles too. So
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, really.
We put it in God's hands.
Put it in God's hands. Yeah, truly, right.
Like continue to do those things that He said. We're gonna put it in our daughter's situation in God's hands. We do plan to move her to a different school just because she'll be going to kindergarten. But man, like, y'all, 4 years old. We prayed for. So what we did with our daughter, what we did do was we took her. It was Lee, me, and her, and we prayed for her, our daughter Alina, and the little girl who was in her class. We prayed, and we kind of prayed for her to make better word choices and not to say certain things and things like that, because we wanted our daughter to see that prayer life in us. We pray with her every night. So we did that. The next step is just really not being shaken and not being worried. And we have time. Daughter's not catching on to the moments that we worry, because we're able to hold that in now, but eventually she'll catch on. So we're working towards that, y'all. Yeah. Being really, really grounded, founded in
my
Christ.
thing was in the video, why she had to come at me? Why she had to cuss me
y'all,
out? Listen,
the little girl was cussing out
she was talking about me.
in the video.
She was F-bombing me.
The 4-year-old was cursing out Alina's dad in the video.
F Alina dad.
That's crazy.
I was like, what did I do?